Let's go, Ding. We are back. Smack Talk Wednesday night. Whether you're watching live or you're watching on the playback or listening on Spotify or Apple iTunes, we keep bringing you everything Power Slap Wednesday, 6 o'clock in the West, 9 p.m. in the East. Another week is going. We're getting a little bit closer. A lot of rumors speculating around. We got a new fight dropping this week. Leon Johnson versus Kole Smith. We're going to break down, and we're going to have Leon Johnson joining us to talk to us about what it was like to make his debut match in Power Slap. We're also anticipating that Raw and Wolverine Beta is going to be joining us on today's show. We're going to talk to him about where he's at in his career, and we're going to talk to him about the training camp that he participated in Las Vegas as part of the Combine, the first ever one that they did to scout and recruit new talent. And hopefully he'll give us some tips and tricks on some athletes to watch out for coming into Power Slap in the weeks and months to come. Ding, how have you been holding it down on the East Coast?
Good, man. We're still, the big question is when's the next event? People are thinking Power Slap's dead, so I have an interesting hunch that once this next event is announced, people will be very, very aware that Power Slap is actually not dead. It's actually quite the opposite. It's very much alive. It's just, I think this next one's going to be special.
100%. We've got two champs in the house right there. I see in the comments, my boys, we got Anthony Babyface Blackburn holding it down, as well as Brandon, the Butcher Bordeaux. We appreciate both you guys for tuning in every week, for your loyalty and your support to everything Power Slap and representing the sport like you guys should, like true champions. And everything that you guys do. It's how this thing is going to grow across the board. The Michigan guys, I know they have a connection. You probably know a little bit more than I do, Ding, about their coach that they're using. Obviously, it was Blackburn's coach originally, took Brandon Bordeaux under his wing, and now he's got two champions in Power Slap underneath him at this particular moment. So great to see that the Michigan-California rivalry is still live and well. It looks like it will be for some time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's cool to have two people. I mean, all the places you could be from in the United States, these two guys are from the same. They did an event, a celebration, if you will, or in April. I think probably early March or mid-March, excuse me. If I had to remember, maybe mid to late March. Both of them were in attendance. They did an event locally in Michigan, so that was really cool for them to both be a part of. Like you said, obviously the coach is a synergy. I believe his name is James Isham. So shout out to him. Probably one of the only publicly known coaches for Power Slap at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you mean? You got Ryan, the King of King Phillips.
Oh, those are strikers, though. I'm not talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just talking about. Yeah, I'm just talking about like a private guy.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Obviously NFL football week. I know it's not football, but there's kind of relevancy in regard to it. I actually seen a really interesting chart. It actually talked about the first round draft picks over the last 20 years and what states they came from. And you'd actually be surprised, predominantly 5 states that the first round draft picks into the NFL come from. You got California, you got Alabama, you had Florida, you had Ohio, and you had Texas. So, it's no surprise in Power Slap, just relating it back to Power Slap, that we're starting to see these pockets, Florida, Michigan, we had a little bit of Ohio, obviously representing at times, Nevada, as well as California. And I guess you can throw Texas in there as well. There's quite a few strikers from Texas. So we're starting to see some of that regionalization taking place as it relates to Power Slap. But I mean, we are seeing it expand, obviously, outside of the United States as well. It is becoming a globalized sport. And in a lot of accounts, as Dana White alluded to, we should be getting a ton of events overseas, whether it be in Saudi Arabia or in Abu Dhabi, coming up over the next year and a bit. I believe Dana said 5 or 6 events they're hoping to have, in the, or at least they're contractually obligated to have coming up here. So we're going to see a lot of international talent being developed. We have the first ever champion, Dumpling, representing for those guys internationally, and seemingly a ton of new talent from Russia and Eastern European coming into Power Slap. And I mean, we can't forget, shout out to Robin Wereschuk, as well as Darren Godfrey holding it down in Europe as well, helping to expand the sport on the other side of the pond. And I think we get to London here sometime Maybe not in the immediate future, but maybe that midterm future, 2 to 3 years, we can see something in Ireland or over in the UK. So lots happening. I know we always on kind of watch and hunt for the latest, and everybody wants to know, when is the next fight card going to happen? They want it, and they want to know what the matchups are. Obviously, there's some rumors speculating, but as of right now, there's nothing concrete in the bank that we can speak about. All that we can say is who's the champions. If there's going to be every event has had a title match upon it, so we could prognosticate and we can, be fantasy matchmaker, and we could talk about who kind of makes sense. I know we've done it on previous episodes as well, but who makes sense for these guys at the top. Let's start there. Anthony Babyface Blackburn. Who do we believe makes a great matchup for him, Ding?
I mean, you're looking at I think the KO Chris rematch is there, especially given that moment they had on the broadcast at 12. Obviously, Azael, I think, is the bigger name that's kind of being talked about, being that he debuted at number 2 in the division. Had great success at middleweight. I think he's a guy that's always one match away from a title match. Wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, we've seen some stuff on social between them. Azael has since talked about why he was in Vegas and said that it was not, for any potential match. So I don't know what that means. I don't know, where that's going to go. Joe Scott is another guy that's always right there. So, I mean, who knows realistically what'll end up happening, right? Jules had a real weird history with the promotion. I don't know that we see him back ever again. I'm not sure. He doesn't seem to be super active when he's not competing.
Yeah. I'm going to say Robert Trujillo. And I mean, for a lot of ways, I think it's just a lack of competitor at 155 that can take on Robert at the top of this moment. Obviously, we don't know Joshua Bovair, where he's at, in that kind of rank. And, right behind him, we had obviously King DeFrank coming off a loss. I think Riley Montoya needs probably a match or two. Great to see him become victorious, but I'd like to see him repeat that before you get a chance at Robert Trujillo. So I think Robert moving up, I think, is a very intriguing matchup, kind of low key under the radar potentially against Anthony Blackburn. And I think a lot of accounts, I think Anthony Blackburn could probably even go down. I mean, to even a catch weight potentially if needed, but I could see them both at 170. Robert's fought at 170 before, and I think it makes a lot of sense. KO Chris Thomas, has he done enough? That's a real interesting and intriguing question to say, is KO Chris deserving of it. Obviously, Emmanuel Muniz is still kicking around there, who's beat KO Chris. Almost seeming like you need a rematch there before I think you'd anoint KO Chris up. But time will tell. It's definitely interesting to see. But I think it's safe to say that we're going to get Anthony back. Last time we seen him was December, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the last card of the year.
Yeah, Blackburn. Yeah.
So I think he's due to be up here the next time we get an event, whether it's in May or it's in June. Do you want to pivot, Ding? You want to head over to our first guest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get into it.
Leon Johnson, the man, the myth, the legend. I don't see any red and blue lights, so I think we're good.
I think we're good. Y'all, yeah, we're good. We're good.
You picked it up now?
Yeah, so he said I cut somebody off, but I was slamming my brake for somebody that cut me off, so I had to switch lanes. It was somebody.
Where are you at? What state are you in?
I'm in Jersey.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm in Jersey. It's crazy. Now it's almost like I'm used to it now, obviously, right? But it's almost like people don't really have a regard for their vehicles. I don't know.
No, not in New Jersey and not in Florida. I can tell you that.
No, not at all.
But anyway, not what we're here to talk about. But glad. I don't know if you got a ticket or anything, but glad that you were able to make it.
No, I'm clean.
This is our first time chatting, on this program. I know you've talked to Corey, and let me see if I can get this here.
Is there any way we can get a little light on you, Leon, at all?
Me, yeah.
Can we get that? There you go. Can we get the light on the top?
A little bit.
Not bad.
That actually did a little something.
Oh, you did something there for a second. There we go.
Hey, that works. Making it work. My man. Well, good to see you. Like I said, your debut on this platform. So obviously your match just dropped. First things first, initial thoughts. Watching it back, You now get to see a different perspective. Obviously, there's been some footage out there potentially, but this is as good as it gets. The broadcast. What were your initial thoughts when you saw your match up there on YouTube?
Initial thoughts. Kole had a nice swing. He had a good swing. He was definitely a formidable opponent. What I saw and what I felt were similar. I didn't ever feel rocked, but I knew that some of the reactions were big. So he had some good swings there. I thought maybe I thought this after being told this. People thought that the commentation was a little bit biased. That's outside of my, way above my pay grade. I thought it was the experience was amazing, and then being able to watch it on the other end was just as amazing. So my reactions was, I'd say, excitement, and it got that fire back just seeing it again.
Is there anything that you saw in watching that back that you felt like was different from your recollection of that moment? Meaning, what I pointed out to Steve Osengo was that he had a lot of, to me, it seemed like he hadn't used mouth guards very often because he had a lot of saliva that he was keeping in his mouth. And then when he got hit, the saliva was flying out, which optically kind of looks a little weird. It looks like a strike is bigger than it is. Mm-hmm. For you, was there any moment where you looked at the fight, you were like, oh man, I don't remember doing that, or I don't remember experiencing that?
No, I was really, really in the moment. Really, really in the moment. The one thing I did notice, and it could have just been a consequence of just doing it for the first time, I felt like I was leaning back towards the tail end of my swing. So the force that I was supposed to be going directed to him was being pulled back with my body leaning backwards. I saw that from the side view. Like if I would start here, I would finish a little bit further back. So that's taking force off. So I really watched it to correct myself. Yeah, just remnant to football. We watch it not for our best plays, but for our worst plays, and just see what I can correct going forward. But yeah, I think leaning forward into that strike more like some of the better guys we see in power slap, as opposed to pulling it back, I think will help me out.
Can you see this clip that we have on? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So you're taking your first shot.
Yeah, I'm clean there.
Probably one of the better ones that I've seen.
The commentation was saying, "Oh, I was trying to play it off." From watching power slap, I've always see guys stare guys down to let them know that I'm talking to Kole with my eyes. I can give a damn about the judges and the commentators at this point. I'm looking at him directly, letting him know I'm still here. Turn around, easy recovery. No, that was I didn't feel rocked there.
All right, hold on. Let's just get there. There you go. All right. So, I thought you looked good. Like I said, first time you ever getting hit. Cole's a big boy. We were actually next to his parents in the crowd. Great people. And Kole is in the comments right now saying that you stare he stares into your soul, meaning you stare into your opponent's soul.
that was a big part of my strategy. I mean, look, I know this thing is, you're 1/2 inch away from either a knockout or a bad slap. So, just trying to get every advantage. I can't move, right? I would much rather slip and go underneath stuff. But
how instrumental do you think Wolverine? I mean, obviously you saw him talking to you, that we don't know exactly what he was saying, but it seemed like you guys had a decent conversation. Corey, if you could pause us for a second. It seemed like you guys had a decent enough conversation. How important was he to sort of this whole thing?
Who was that?
Wolverine.
Oh man, he might have won that for me. That's how important he was. I mean, from what to think, mechanical, technical, where to have your mind, down to where to put your chin when defending. I mean, he helped. His expertise is invaluable. He really, really helped us a lot there. I hope he continues to stay in that role. I know he's got a lot of fucking experience, but I would love it if he stuck around and gave some of that experience to the future, because he was amazing. I mean, down to the mindset, how to approach each slap, offensively, defensively. I mean, there was nothing that he didn't cover.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to do something a little fun, Leon. I'm not going to put you on the spot, okay? But I'm going to tell you what's coming. But first time ever slap news. We're actually going to have the athlete and the coach on the show.
Look at that.
Wolverine.
How's it going, bud?
Good. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Just getting home.
Awesome. We're going through Leon's fight here against Kole Smith. Obviously Leon just had incredible words for you as a coach. Talk to me. What's it been like for coaching Leon? And let me ask you, was he coachable?
Oh yeah, I mean he was trying to do everything. He was doing everything, not trying. Sorry, he was doing everything right. I mean, he was easy to coach because I mean, you sit there and tell him something, and hell, he went out there and just did it. And then a lot of it, I didn't even have to tell him. I mean, he already knew it. I think maybe just being in that moment, just to make him, calm down a little bit. But he didn't really need much. I was just there just to try to look good next to him.
Mm-hmm. Leon, talk to you about this strike. How good did you feel about it?
It's on target.
Like it wasn't your best. Yeah.
It's on target. The initial windup is there, but again, like I was saying, how I was leaning back with it, kind of like I'm throwing a hook from the outside in boxing, right? I want to kind of get away from your cross. I want to get ready to come back underneath. So it was just really, it was more of a muscle memory deal instead of really leaning in forward as if I'm on the inside and I really want to get. Mm-hmm. So it's an adjustment that I can make quick.
Yeah. So what's going through your mind now after round one? You've delivered and received. Are you feeling confident?
Right now, I'm thinking of, okay, this is round two. I need to get to my slap. This is round two. I need to get to my slap. Okay, let me focus. Let me make sure I see his wind up. Okay, he's measuring. All right, 1. Okay, 2. All right, let's breathe now. Boom. I'm good. And now I got to let you know I'm good because I felt like the stare didn't really work for me at the beginning. So I throw the arms out. But at this point now I'm confident because his first slap was hard and I felt fine. The second one knocked me off balance really because I'm kind of still rolling with it. I'm thinking boxing, man. I'm trying to box. Mm-hmm. But no, this was probably the best one.
You got a flinch for that, didn't you?
Second round, yes, I flinched for the first.
You did. I see it saying that. Okay. Yeah. So in that moment, what are you thinking? Because the flinch is the last thing you want because you get hit again.
This is the thing. I'm so into like, okay, got to get to my next slap. I didn't realize I flinched. And then Wolverine's like, all right, get ready for this next one. And I'm like, what? In my head, I'm thinking, what next one? And then now I start to realize that I flinched. And I'm like, what the? And in your head, you always argue with the ref, right? But when they played it on the thing, I clearly shrugged. So I'm thinking here, like, all right, I got to take it now. I can't go to sleep here.
Yeah, your face tells me in this moment, you're kind of upset at yourself. You don't look the same that you did a minute ago.
I'm pissed, but there's nothing I can do about it. I gotta stay awake through this. See, one thing people don't know, I got to Vegas, let's see, the Thursday before or the Friday before, but I was like 300 pounds when I got there. Nobody knew Kole because this is his debut. So I'm trying to Google him. I'm looking him up on Instagram. I can't find him. And then when I'm asking, I'm asking around, I'm like, what is he? Okay, he's about 6'2", about 330. I say, oh shit, that's way too much weight not to have. So I'm pounding the shouts out to the plug, in and out, right? I'm pounding doubles because I'm thinking in my head, I've got to make up some of this weight. So yeah, so and on the second one, I'm pissed. I'm like, I don't want to take more than I need to, right? The more times you get hit, the more chances you get to get knocked out. So I was upset, but I knew I'd get through that.
Yeah, don't worry. We couldn't find Kole Smith either. So we until Victory Burger, he was a ghost to us also.
He got there later, and just from the description of his body type, I knew who he was immediately. So my mind was
That's
already
funny. Coach, at this point, where do you feel? Do you feel confident your athlete's going to pull it out going in the second round? I mean, obviously foul on that. You got the foul, so the point deduction of Kole Smith after round 2. Does that kind of make you relax a little?
Yeah, it made me relax. I mean, he survived the, he did the flinch, but then he got clubbed for the free shot, and he was able to look through it. And that's where I was just telling him to, use his hip, use his big body, throw all that weight into it. And, and he kept on doing what he did. I mean, got the victory. So, I mean, I was just glad he ate that club because, I mean, as he even just said, I mean, you don't want to, flinch or shrug and then get knocked out. So, I mean, it's just unfortunate for him. He got clubbed. So, but he survived that with no problem. I mean, he wasn't stumbling or nothing. We just took extra time just to stand over there and, just to make sure he was good.
I was going to say strategically, I mean, you used all of the time that was allocated. Is that your personal preference? Is that you take all the time no matter what?
I was telling him to stand over there. I mean, he was ready to go back up there, but I was telling him to stand over there with me, and we were just chit chatting, but he was ready to go as soon as he came back over there.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, that was a great shot, Leon. Sorry.
Yeah, he didn't like that one.
That was a great shot.
I'm not leaning back as much. I don't even really feel it. I feel that the force I'm giving and what it feels like when it connect don't match. So I'm in my head, I'm doing the math. So you can see me start to clean up. I'm not leaning back as far. Yeah. It's more up and to the right. So he didn't like that at all. Mm-hmm. It's on target right there too.
What's your wingspan, Leon? Because it looks like you need to be like a whole 2 feet further back from the podium.
I think mine is a little longer than Jones's. I think it was like 84. I think they measured me at
84. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, even just like the trajectory, like of how I'm seeing the angle of your elbow and everything else, it looks like you're crouched a little bit too much.
I can have a little bit more Z in my elbow, but in my mind, I'm thinking keep your feet down. So leaning back is the best way to do that because if you're on your heels, you can't step right. So I'm thinking lean back there, but I mean, next time I go, I'm probably gonna get a knockout because yeah.
Looks like we just lost Wolverine there, but yeah, I mean, obviously this one here,
that
nice shot from Kole.
That hurt. Now I'm looking at the ref like I'm fine. I'm playing with my eyes this whole match because I'm so focused. But no, that one hurt for sure. The feeling is somebody slammed the door in your face. Oh, you caught me off guard. I got to catch my weight. You see, I lean forward, so I'm not out. I'm not hurt. I'm there. I think I took the breath too early, so I'm holding my breath. He hits me right clean on the chin. Good shot. And my eyes are closed. The one you don't see is the one that knocks you out, regardless how hard it is. And that was a damn good swing. So eyes closed, the breath a little too early, and then holding the breath on the strike. Yeah, that's a perfect combination.
Yeah. Comparing that to getting the crown of the helmet in the chin, in the chin.
Man, look, I told people after every football game I played in, and over the course of college and pros, over a decade, over 80 football games, I've never felt better than I did after this, right? And the comparison I make is and I know we're taking a little turn down the medical field here, but when I look at boxing and MMA, a shin is a hell of a lot harder than a boxing glove. But you don't see these in-ring after fight deaths that we see in boxing so prevalently. And I think the difference is the same thing with slap and football. For me, it's the volume. I'm taking 60 plays in practice against each other where we're contacting, a little moderate contact, right? But we're hitting every fucking time. And then we got the games where we'll get 75 to 80 plays. So throughout the course of a week, we're hitting each other over 200, 300 times, as opposed to taking 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 slaps. It's the volume. The same with MMA. You get the big shot, you drop, maybe you get a hammer fist, the fight's over. Boxing, you take 70, 80 punches around. And if you're not fighting well defensively, if it's a big stake fight, you're taking 100 shots. So it's the volume, I think, is the big difference.
100%. At this point, going into the scorecards, how are you feeling?
I'm uncertain. I know the club helped. But I know at least one of those shots, I didn't feel like I got all of it. And then I'm remembering, damn, I stumbled on this one. I kind of leaned on that one. I know they're judging the reaction. At this point, I just let go. And as they say, let God. I did my part. Every strike for me was clean. I stayed awake. I showed that I wasn't hurt when I wasn't hurt. And even when I was, I showed I wasn't. So, I mean, it's in the judge's hand at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Is left where you think you'll stay? Left hand? Is that your dominant hand?
I use both of my hands equally. So if I'm shooting a basketball, I'll shoot it with my right, I'll shoot it with my left. I bowl with my left. I use a mouse with my left. I'll write with both. I really use both of my hands. I drive with both. They say that the hand you wipe your butt with is your dominant hand, and I'll switch hands. So I may stay left. I may go right.
Hold on a second. You see the hand that you wipe your butt with is the hand that is your dominant hand?
That's what they say. That's the old saying.
I don't know. I've always been told you don't eat with the same hand that you wipe your butt with. And to me, that's common sense. So you're telling me you eat with the same hand that you wipe your butt with?
Well, look,
Really?
if you use a nice double dollop of Myers hand soap, you'll eat with either hand.
Oh, good. We're getting a little long in the tooth here. Awesome, Leon. I appreciate you joining us, man.
Absolutely.
We're just running a little long here, but glad you didn't get a ticket. Look forward to seeing you back up there real soon, and appreciate that war between you and Kole.
Absolutely. Look, man, 300 and below is something I feel comfortable at. When I played, the heaviest I ever played at was 360. I'll never be up there again. So you might see me down in the 265. I think I'm just naturally a big heavyweight as opposed to being a really, really small super heavyweight. So we may be thinking about making that adjustment.
All right. Damien DeBell, he's coming for you.
Well, he might be the one came for.
Awesome. Appreciate you, my man. We'll catch up soon, okay?
Thank you so much, fellas.
Thanks. Take care. All right, Wolverine.
How's it going?
Turn of events. We appreciate you joining us. Been a little while since we've chatted. How's things in the Midwest?
Good. Just hanging out, waiting. Just waiting.
Awesome. While you're waiting, we know you're out there in Las Vegas as part of the combine. Getting to see the next crop of strikers. How optimistic are you that this crop that you were able to look at has some potential to turn some heads?
I think there was a few guys there. I mean, there was probably a good 5 or 6. I mean, they were all, could be good at some point, especially if they work on it and stuff. But I mean, there's probably a good 5 or 6 that were already there that were, probably ready to go, like on road to the title or something like that.
Gotcha. Any names specifically?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even remember the names.
do you forget your name now once in a while too?
No, but there was a lot of people there this time.
Gotcha.
I will do something fun. Describe them.
Well, I mean, obviously there's
some of those names.
I don't even remember the names, but I mean, I'd probably say the best prospect out there was that super heavyweight guy, the one that they were calling the White Hole.
Zach Lansing.
Okay. And then I thought Azael's nephew was pretty good. Of course, that's my weight class, so that's something to look at. But yeah.
Which one's Azael's nephew? Dang.
Esteban Saavedra.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. Awesome. How about the women?
I actually didn't really work with the women too much. That was
Trujillo. They wanted like same height.
Same height, weight. Yeah, I got you. But that's awesome, man. I'm glad that they're able to get these training camps in, and obviously, I think getting Mark Smith out there adds a huge level of credibility to this entire thing as well. And ultimately getting better product once the athlete gets up there on stage, and I think it's underestimated. Getting these athletes in to learn and train properly before they get to Las Vegas for the first time, I think is incredibly important, because now they can go back home, whether it's 1, 2, 6, 8 months or a year later, they get a call to come back to Vegas to fight, that they've been actually training properly from the get-go. They're not picking up the bad habits, and they're honing in their skill set. And I think that's ultimately going to allow us to be able to have a lot better product and safer product for the strikers as well, hopefully reducing the amount of fouls that, kind of come into play. Do you echo that same sentiment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's better than, like some of the competitors on road to the title where you get pushed right in. And that first week you compete, and hell, you've never even done this before, never watched it, or if you have watched it, you've never practiced it. So you're just going up there and swinging for the fence, stepping, clubbing, doing all this. At least, if you come out there and you're working, especially with like Mark Smith, and he's telling you the rules, showing you the rule set, so you have that in the back of your mind when you go home. And like you said, whether it's a month or a year later, hopefully you've been working on all that, so that way you're not just going straight up there to get fouled out or anything. I mean, the only thing that would, I guess, hurt you in the long run would be nerves and stuff, be in front of the crowds or in front of Dana and all of them. So, I mean, but hopefully, as long as you've been practicing, it should be, second nature to just go up there and just do what you've been doing and not worry about everybody out there.
Yeah. I hear you. One last one for me before I turn it over to Ding. I don't want to bait you into anything. I don't think it's a good way, but you said you're just sitting there waiting. What does that mean? You said it, not me.
I'm planning on coming back. I just waiting on when.
Atta boy.
I don't have any breaking news music, but I'll make some with my mouth. Dun 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 dun.
Awesome, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed, to be quite honest, that I wasn't gonna get to see your last match in over in Saudi Arabia. So glad that you're coming back, my man.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't planning on it. I packed up to, I think I weighed, me and my wife, we weighed myself. I mean, I weighed probably 235 a couple weeks ago, 230, 235. I mean, I was just eating everything inside. I wasn't worried about my weight no more. So, but, once I decided to go back, and I've been starting to cut that down and did about my normal 215 or so now. So
you're in striking distance.
Yes, sir.
Wolverine, I gotta ask you. I've been wanting to ask this for a while, but I gotta ask you now. I could be wrong, man. You could be the most like social butterfly in the world, like talking to everybody, just because that could be the case. But you strike me as a speaks when spoken to kind of guy. Man, a few words. Are you like, God damn it, they keep putting me in these damn positions where I gotta talk to everybody? I'm coaching training camps, I'm coaching on the events. Like, damn, can you guys put me somewhere where I don't have to talk?
I warn all the people that we go up there for the training camps that I'm not the most vocal person. I can help you, and I can show you and tell you what you're doing, but I can't make long paragraphs and, have a 20-minute conversation about it. I can just tell you, and you take that information, and then I can show you something to go with it, and then you take that information. But yeah, I'm not that person that's going to be able to sit there and talk to you 10, 15, 20 minutes about mechanics and everything else. I can more like a, show and, watch, just watch and repeat.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, at least my radar is not so far off. Talk to me about, somebody put it in the comments, so I'm going to ask it. I might get fired for this, but I'll give it a try. Talk to me about this whole chest slapping thing. What is, like, what are you actually doing it? Were you just the guy that was being looked at for on the camera for the promo? Like, are you actually interested in that?
I was just hosting it, honestly. I'm hosting it with JT. We watched that first event, me and my wife, we went there, watched it, obviously because I was hosting it, but she came with me, and at the end of it, she was volunteering me for to take one, and I was like, oh hell, if I'm gonna host it, I may as well try one. So, but that ain't for me. I told JT that I'm gonna try to get hit in the face and in the chest any day. I'm not no Ric Flair. I ain't getting hit in my nipples and be able to not show any emotion about that.
What if they pinch them first? If they pinch them and then slap them, then it's kind of like,
I think that's even worse.
Okay.
I'm not much of that kind of foreplay guy.
Everybody in the comments right now seems to be very happy that you are gonna return. Let's see. Wolverine versus Turpin this time. Knock him out, please. Uh, Good to have you back. You're a hell of a coach. Great addition to have in Power Slap, as he's an amazing performer and a great mentor. So to that point, and that's not the first time we've heard that. When you do decide, in the future to actually hang it up, do you feel like with the experience that you're gaining as a coach so often now that you'll kind of really look to kind of taking that kind of role more frequently, I guess I'll say, and potentially even a permanent role, where you kind of like a resident coach for Power Slap?
I wouldn't mind. I'm getting better at it. I mean, I can see Aaron Turner's comment. I mean, with like Turner and, like a bunch of the guys at the combine this time and the first time, I mean, I'm getting better at talking to people. I'm still not the best at it. I'm working on it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the sport. So, I mean, if I can even help, because obviously no two people are going to swing the same. So I try to watch what they do and just try to like point out pointers from what they do. Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. So, I mean, I'd like to continue doing it. I just got to work on, like I said, getting better at talking to people. I know it's getting better, but it's still got a long way to go.
Is there a part of you that's concerned that there's not really a better way to go out than the way you would have went out if Power Slap 11 was it? Like first round
Uh,
knockout. I mean, how do you? I mean, unless you get another first round knockout against Luke, Russell, Vern again, Turpin. Like unless you have that moment and you don't even get hit, I don't know that you can beat what you did on January 30th, man.
uh, my old man's told me this quite a bit whenever I told him I was thinking about coming back. I don't think I'll ever get that moment. If I had went out, that's the best. I mean, there was no better way to go out than that. But um, I got some things I got to take care of, so I got to come back. And yeah, I don't see myself going out that same way. So I won't be able to get that kind of, I guess, celebration for leaving as I did in Saudi Arabia. But I'm gonna do my best to continue that streak though, because I prefer not to, take, like somebody said about the Turpin man. I don't want to go 5 rounds with everybody. I want to just go a couple and be done and finish out my contract and call it good.
All right, so let's wrap up with this. I'm gonna say a name, and I want you to tell me your rationale for whether or not they make sense for you as your next match.
Good.
Vern Cathey.
Um, Maybe not my next one. I think he should be competing against. I think whenever I put that list out there, I think he should compete against Luke for a #1 contender spot. Um, I think I think he deserves that. I mean, like I said, I personally don't think Vern was there that night. I know he performs better. Obviously, he's been showing everybody he does a hell of a lot better than that. I mean, he did something I didn't do with knocking out Turpin. So I think that night he just wasn't there in his mindset. Um, so it's nothing against him. So I think he does deserve a #1 contender matchup against Luke.
All right, so now I'll play the reverse. Luke Simons.
I think he deserves a #1 contender match against Vern because I don't think he's quite. There's one other guy that's right there that I think is just above Luke. So I think you got to put Vern and Luke against each other for a #1 contender spot because I think there's one other person that's right above Luke. I mean, Luke's been on fire and he's been doing the wins and doing the knockouts. And I know he showboats at the end. He brings a lot of attention, but I think there's one other person that's still right there above him that deserves a shot first.
I'm gonna assume that you're talking about one Russell Rivero.
Yes, sir. I think he's
So
been. I think he's been winning. I think he's been showing up. He's been making weight. I know his competitor for 2 matches canceled on him, which ain't his fault. So, and I know last time he had a title match was at Power Slap 2. And He knocked AJ out. Unfortunately, he did what he used to do a lot, and he stepped. I think he's been working on that, and he's got that fixed up. So I think he is deserving of a title shot first, and I think he's going to be ready to go a lot better than he was earlier in the early power slaps.
Is there any part of you that's concerned that he hasn't? He has the ranking, but what I'll say is his competitors, with the exception of the Turpin match, which was scheduled now twice, he fought AJ, right? Lost because of the foul. Then he fought Bear Bennett, and then he fought Cody Belial. I don't know that Bear Bennett was ever ranked, and Cody Belial was at the top, the high end of the rankings. Are you at all concerned that he really hasn't gotten through that top 10 at all?
No, I mean, because I don't necessarily know that they're going off of that, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look at Turpin, for instance, I mean, who did Turpin beat in order to get to a title match? He beat the one that, Russell did. I mean, Russell unfortunately lost due to a step, but he still knocked AJ out. That's who, Turpin knocked out. But that was after, I had just went 5 matches with AJ, and then AJ got that, knockout / I still think it's a club, but from Turpin. And then, so I don't think they really go off the rankings. So as far as, his performances, I think Russell is the next one that goes up there.
Okay. And then what's the likelihood that you think you ever see Turpin again?
I don't plan on making heavyweight anytime soon, so I don't think so. Not trying to poke at him, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's been a while since he made 205, and I don't know the reason why he didn't show up for Russell. I don't know if it was weight or anything like that. I mean, so I'm not poking at him. I'm just saying the last couple matches that I know he was there, he weighed in at heavyweight weight. So I don't plan on going to heavyweight, so I don't know if I plan on seeing him at all.
Interesting. So, I mean, I guess if you're saying you don't think that Power Slap's looking at matching people up that way, then I get it. But I see the argument for both, right? I think Russell has built up that equity, obviously, the performances with AJ, and I think the history there. But on the flip side, Luke has 3 ranked wins at this point. Russell has, I think, 1 because Cody's the only one that's still there. So I see both. I mean, it would probably be fun. Hey, stay out of here. It would probably be fun to I was kind of interested in the whole tournament style, like really making a kind of a bracket of it. Doesn't seem like that's ever the direction they go. But definitely glad to hear that you're returning. That'll make things fun.
I'm about to say, I think they really, I mean, hell, if I get in trouble or say anything wrong, they can get on to me or y'all can. But, I don't think they go off of the round. I think they really just go off of who's the hype one, who's getting the wins back to back at that moment. So that's why I say, I mean, Luke, I think, is the next one in line. I know Russell, they keep waiting. They've been, trying to push him against Turpin, and that match keeps falling through. So I think they're just now, you know what, all right, we'll just say you won. So you got the number 1 contender spot. So, and with me coming back, that's not a vacant belt. So I would put Russell against me next. And then I would put Vern, because, I mean, in the past, I mean, other than the middleweight class, because they kind of, shoved John off to the side. But other than that, most of the time, when you lose that championship or number 1 contender, you still stay right around there. So I think Vern should be going against Luke, and they can compete for who goes against me or Russell if that were going to be the direction they go.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Russell Rivera was in Saudi Arabia with you as, an alternate or a fill-in, correct? In case that main event didn't take place with Vern Cathey?
That is correct. He was there just in case me or Vern, couldn't pass medicals or, couldn't compete for any reason. So, yeah, he was there, and, Yeah,
Yeah.
I sat in the hot tub, or not in the hot tub, the sauna, with him, talked with him for a bit. I mean, he's been ready to go for a while, and his matches keep getting dropped. So
Yeah, one last one for me. I'll say it's unofficially, but John Davis let it be known here on Slap News that he had a match booked with Turpin at 205. Talking specifically about John Davis, what do you think that means and where the Power Slap sees John in his career that they wanted him to go up to 205 and compete against one of the top ranked guys?
I don't know. I mean, I would think he would be good at 85 because, I mean, I know there's more people on there, but right now they've just been doing the Isaiah and Brandon Bordeaux matchups. I would think that John would be in there. I mean, Isaiah, beat him, but it took, I think 4 or 5 rounds to beat him. So, I mean, I think he should still get another shot, or at least, move down to ranked, let him compete against number 3 or 4 and work his way back up to the title match or something like that. Just to sit there and say, but I don't know if maybe y'all know. I don't know if John said, he just wanted to compete, so he'll compete at 205 because maybe that's what he's walking around at, or anything like that. So, but if they're pushing him to 205, I think that's kind of shitty.
For sure. Awesome, man. I appreciate you joining us, man. I'm not taking a lot of your time. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I can't wait to see you back up there at the table.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right, Ding. There we go. Catching Wolverine. Great news. Obviously, he's coming back. Coach, as always, great guy all around. I know, as we said, we're running a little bit long here. Let's move right into our next guest. Where are we going?
Baby Wolverine.
Baby Wolverine?
I'm just kidding. I don't want to call him that.
Wolverine without lighting his beard on fire. The Northern Man. What's going on?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are we?
Good. I hear lighting your beard on fire makes you a world champion, apparently. You want to try it out?
Man, if that's what it takes, man, you got to do what it takes, I suppose.
100%. How you been keeping, Tyler?
Hey, man, good. Just, keeping busy, always training, always working. Same old.
Awesome. What's that training looking like these days?
Same as always, rotational power, keeping the neck in check, and then just typical 5
I'm not in the gym.
What's that
I'm
now?
not in the gym. I don't know what it always looks like. So.
Oh yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah. I feel like I've talked to many people about this, but yeah. So a lot of medicine ball stuff, a lot of rotational work, keeping the neck in check, and where I used to be a much bigger guy, close to about 260. I picked up just like a straight 5-day split, push pull legs while I was losing weight. So I maintained that and just keep a lot of slap focus stuff in. Always getting someone to hold the taekwondo pad, just follow through. Just trying to make sure I keep all things in check.
I mean, last time we seen you up there, kind of revitalized, I think, new, I'll say new technique, but just you seem totally different from, when we seen you on the show. What do you attribute that kind of positive progression in your game?
It's a lot of kind of like what Wolverine was saying. A lot of us that were popping into the show never really practiced that form or anything. You work around that first week, and then boom, there's the stage. So applying down power there. If you guys remember, I had the number 1 slap for my weight on the season. I think it was number 6 overall out of all guys. So I knew I had the power. It was just finding application. And then obviously fast forward a while in Saudi, that was just fruits of the labor, just figuring out my way of throwing shots and all the little tips and tricks I'd been given along the way.
Any matchup you're eyeing? Anybody you'd like to exchange slaps with?
Oh man, anybody above me right now, there was Debo that was kind of throwing a jab at one point, telling me to stay in my place. Well, now he has the place I was in, so take that back from him. You've got Zach Zane, who's looking healthy again. Glad to hear that he is, because I know he was dealing with some medical stuff. But Frost, we haven't seen Provost in quite a long time. If they would throw that fight, I'd gladly go with Provost. And then shortly, if we can work it out, even Thomas in the future. It's the quicker I can get up those rankings, the better. So whatever name hits, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't heard anything from Provost in a little while. I think Will and Frost been kind of hitting our DMs up there a little bit. Seems to be interested in getting back into Power Slap here. Yeah, it could be interesting to see him. And Chris Thomas is actually an interesting name. What did you make of his last match? And you think he's back?
He was definitely excited. Yeah, and coming off of a 2-loss slide, that win obviously kept him pretty high up in the rankings. But I think with the way that the rankings work, I think if I could work out 1 or 2 big wins, at most, that Northman v. Thomas could be in the discussion.
Yeah, I kind of like it. What about you, Ding?
Yeah, I think from Tyler's perspective, it's fair. I think from Chris's perspective, he did that favor before and it bit him in the ass because he was number 1, gave Blackburn a shot at number 6 and lost. So I don't think he takes that match at the moment, but I think from a skills perspective, and this actually is kind of my first question. Do you think, Tyler, that because obviously your first match doesn't go your way with Radalavi on the show, second match is as easy of a day as you can have it, right? You show up, don't take any damage, and you put a guy out on 1. But do you think there's still going to be this question until you go up there again about your chin? Because we see your strike, but your chin, the last time we saw it, it didn't look so good. And we didn't see it last time. So do you think that question still exists?
110%, and that's I've told anybody that I've had the discussion with to go back and watch the match. I paid the piper for cockiness. I ate a monster shot because you guys have seen against Vince, against myself, and even against Cole Young, Rod can crack. Rod can throw a shot. So I ate this monster, and it shot my confidence up higher than it even should have. So coming into round 2, you can tell the shoulders are higher, like not even higher, just not as far back, not as tensed. I paid the piper for overconfidence there. So, definitely there's this automatic blemish. I'm 1-1. So until I get up there, that's why I was telling everybody, I assumed that Kilmartin would get the coin toss just because that's my luck. And then coming in, showing the offense that I've definitely got that in check. At this point, the only thing left to prove before I kind of earned the respect, and there's no chirps about my spot in the ranking, so to speak. Obviously, I got to go a couple of rounds or at least eat 1 and then dust somebody out in round 2. But there's going to be that lingering question until then for sure.
Yeah, I think you brought up a great point earlier when you were talking about Debo. I didn't realize that he was, chirping at you a little bit, but I think even though he lost his last match and you won yours, I think because of who he lost against and where that put him in the rankings compared to you, I still think that match it advances you. It's somebody that is ahead. So I think based on the conversation you had after Power Slap 11 with Corey, that was your desire, was that you don't want to fight backwards. So I think it still sort of satisfies that requirement as well. So definitely could be an interesting one between you and Debo, I think.
Yeah. If they threw Debo out, man, that's fantastic. Hopefully he makes weight, and that's not a jab or anything. It's just that we're all there for the professionalism. If I'm having to do it, he needs to do it. But nothing but respect for him. Up until that, with the little weight blemish, I've not seen anything from him that necessarily bothered me at all. So that's nothing but respect there. And if that's the name I get, I'd be happy to take it.
If you had an opponent for whatever reason that didn't make weight, would that change whether or not you'd want to continue? Because they give you an option. Obviously, like you can withdraw from a match if the contractual obligation changes, meaning they miss weight. That's the contract is null and void because it's not the agreed upon weight. You get some portion of their purse, but you can say no if you'd like to. We've only seen that. I think we may have seen it once. Maybe it hasn't even happened before. I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, but would that change anything for you?
I think that maybe Jackie she may have been the one that was a little weird whenever the opponent didn't make weight, or maybe she did take that fight. But on my end of it, no, give me the extra purse. You know what I mean? As far as that goes, Kilmartin was like kind of posting and talking about that he refed all the way up to like 190 anyway. So if you're a little bit heavy, that's all good. We'll still run it and just give me the extra purse.
Yeah, you talked about obviously learning that lesson, or as you call it, paying the piper. What does that look like for you as you move forward? I mean, obviously, you talked about not having the shoulders as tense. Like, what defensive changes are you making, or have you made, so that does not happen again, or you minimize the risk based on how you stand, where you put your chin, things like that?
That's not as much as defensive tactic. It's just like mental capacity. Remembering in that moment, okay, you ate 1 big shot, but you've got 2, 3, however many more to go. So don't relax yet. Don't think because you ate 1 that the second one's not going to hurt you, obviously. And there was a second detrimental mistake that I made in that match, which we've seen champions do it. We've seen, my buddy Bordeaux do it. We've seen all these guys do it. But whenever I got dropped, I was back on my feet, stumbling around, looking for my footing by, I think, like second 4. So obviously just keeping the mental capacity, staying in tune with the moment. And when you do get dropped, rocketing to your feet is going to be the last thing you want to do. Obviously, take that time on the ground to kind of get some sense back about you before you try to actually stand up.
Now, there's a lot of talk about the beards. I know yours, if I remember correctly, was tied up for your match, but there's also been some notion, and from the perspective of the conversation we had with Mark Smith a little over a month ago at this point, it doesn't look like there's any plans to do this. But again, just out of a curiosity from the fan perspective, if they were to say, you do need to sort of, I'll say trim or maintain the a very low length for the hair that's on your face itself, would that concern you at all? Would that change anything, or would you just kind of be like, it is what it is? I guess I'm shaving this bad boy, from this part.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be stoked to lose it, obviously, if that's what it comes down to, because I've had the beard longer than Power Slap itself. I won't say slap fighting, but longer than Power Slap's been around. But I've got rankings to climb. There's a ladder in front of me. So if this is what's holding me back a few rungs, go ahead and whack it. You know what I mean?
Does it grow longer than that, or is that what you got?
No, I've been to the belly button, man. Funny that you guys said catch on fire earlier, because about 5 years back, I was roughly belly button length, and I was working for a company, and I was trying to take an 18-wheeler tire like off of a truck. And sometimes if they're like coal trucks, they've got all this dust and they're seized. So I'm heating this thing up with a blowtorch, and my buddy comes and starts smacking the side of my face because I'm smoldering all the way down the left side.
Well, there's a story behind that, Corey, if you want to tell them why you mentioned the burning beard thing.
Oh, so yeah, I'm sure he probably knows. I'm sure he listens to Slap News. But Wolverine was fixing his furnace, and I don't know, got some puff of smoke or air or whatever, and lit his beard on fire. So that's where I was going with that reference earlier. Obviously, kind of going from Wolverine into you, and but look, you guys got more in common than you realized.
Yeah. Look at there, man. Look at there.
Awesome. If you can have even part of a career that he's had, you're well on your way, my man. So we appreciate you. Thanks for joining. Great catching up as always. And I look forward to seeing you back up there at the table.
Hey, till the next time. And thank you guys so much as always. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Take care, my man. Enjoy.
See you, fellas.
All right, thing. Keep on rolling. Nice to see the Northern Man again. And, from Wolverine to the Northern Man. And I know you're just pulling things here on me like you always do. We got one Kole Smith in the wing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had to do it, man. I had to do it. We had Leon. I think Kole, that was a good match. I think Kole has a right to speak for himself.
And bring him on.
Bam.
How's it going?
Good. You got? Are you and Leon in the same spot?
No, man, no. I mean, we're both in the car, I guess. But
you guys are looking like ghosts tonight here.
I know. Let me. It might be too much in the camera if I turn that light on, though.
No, buddy, that's even better, my man. You're making progress. Perfect. So we appreciate you. How's things been?
Good, man. Good. Just been working out and actual work.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me, man. How disappointed were you that decision didn't go your way?
A lot. Because I know I gave it away. No disrespect to him. He's a great opponent, everything like that. But the clubbing penalty, my bad reaction, I'll call it in round one. I feel like those two moments right there just kind of gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, don't be too hard on yourself, man. I mean, you stood up there. You go the distance with a guy in the super heavyweight divisions. No shame. Obviously, I know you're a competitor. You want to, get every victory. If you could change one thing, what would it be from that match?
It would actually be before the match, man. I wish I could have went out to the entire training camp. The mistakes I made that on the night of the fight, I don't think I would have made had I been there the entire time. I was only out there for the last day. We had probably like an hour and a half group session. That was the only actual direct slap training that I had. And I feel like the mistakes I made would have been resolved before the match had I been out there the full 3-4 days, whatever it was.
Was that a commitment on your side you weren't able to make it, or were you just simply not
I had
invited?
some work. I had some work stuff going on that I wasn't able to get out of at the time.
Gotcha. What have you been doing since?
Been training, man. Been working on my alignment. I don't know if anyone else noticed or if it was just me, but I was hitting way too deep the entire night. That's not going to happen again. That the third round strike was the best one I had as far as placement wise. And I would like to be there the entire time next time.
For sure.
I mean, you're not going to knock anybody out. I don't feel like hitting them back by the ear. So,
body composition wise, I'd say you guys are kind of, built differently per se. Leon, like I said, very, very, very tall, very long, very lanky. I say you're kind of built more like a guard, I'd say, stout top to bottom. Do you feel like the makeup that you have is suited for the super heavyweight division in power slap?
Yeah, I do. As far as like weight and strength wise, I feel like I'm really balanced. I mean, if that makes sense. And I feel like it translates. I have a lot of power from the ground up, legs through upper body, and I feel like that translates really well to getting all the power into the strike.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. Where do you go next?
I don't know, man. Wherever they want me, I guess. I'm in kind of a strange spot, I feel like. I feel like I showed some promise that I will be able to compete and do good once I get those couple things resolved. So, I mean, they could go anywhere with me. They could give me a new guy. They could give me someone else who's lost a match, someone who's maybe had one other match. Not going to say anything crazy and call out top 10 guys or anything like that, but
no one's done that today. Come on. What do you mean?
I thought it was funny. The new guys were calling out top 10 guys, and I'm like, come on, man. The pads don't hit back.
Absolutely. Oh,
they always do that. It ain't slap news if they don't, bro.
Yeah.
Like they've never competed. They're like, I want the crazy Hawaii, and they're 180 pounds.
It's fair, man. Shoot for the stars, I guess. The worst that can happen is they'll say no. I mean, look at Rousey. He got what? McKinney was number 5 on his first fight, so you never know, I guess.
Yeah, that was just McKinney pissed off somebody at some point somewhere because I don't know how he scored that one, but what I'll say is, and we looked at your match a little earlier on in the show with Leon. I agree with your assessment that you were too deep for sure. I think all of your strikes, you definitely. I mean, they gave you. I think they were giving you guys a break on a few things. The feet were a problem. I don't remember if it was a real issue for you, but I know for Leon it was. And people were making comments about it. They gave you guys a big pass there too.
Yeah.
But his feet that was pretty rough. I don't know if that signals a rule change or something, but it was pretty like blatant obvious that.
Yeah, my third round strike, it was a little questionable. I feel like first and second round were a little better as far as stepping goes.
When you heard the decision or when you were hearing the decision, were you like confident? Were you concerned? Like, what did you think?
Crazy Hawaiian seemed to think that I won that night. So I was kind of like thinking that. And then once I heard the 29-27, I'm like, hold on, I lost a point. Like, math doesn't work out that way. So I kind of knew when they were saying that. I was still disappointed. Even watching it still, I think it should have been 28-28. But I'm not a judge, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you think your biggest mistakes were? Was it on the defense or on the offense? Obviously, the club is the club, but on rounds 1 and 3, what do you think your errors were?
The club. Going into it, I was just kind of thinking, get back to my coach, just turn around, go back to my coach. I think I gave him round 1 when I turned around and stumbled like that. I was not in danger of going out at all, like I was there the entire time, but I'd never been hit in the face, especially like that. I think that's just kind of my body's reaction to like, what the fuck are we doing? So that was kind of like those 2 stumbled steps. I think that didn't help me. Obviously, the second round there was a club, And in the second round, I was pointing to like the top of my head, like my temple. I thought he hit me high. Watching it back, I realized he has a huge fucking hand. His thumb just hit me right on the temple. And if you actually like pay close attention, you can see me swelling like on the top part of my head from his fucking thumb. It's crazy.
Big boys, man.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything? So you mentioned kind of when you watched it back, you discovered something. Was there anything for you that was sort of surprising, or you didn't recollect it that way? Like maybe you thought I thought it went like this, or I thought I did this, but I'm watching it back and actually I didn't realize I did that.
Not really. Just again, how deep I was on my strikes. I did not realize I was hitting him that far back in the moment. But again, like I said, I feel like that would have been resolved had I been able to go out to the training camp.
Yeah, I think that the training camps are a good addition to the sport, and generally it seemed like the reason that they were doing pre-recordings. I mean, this card happened to be the heaviest that they ever did, where they had 8 pre-recordings. But originally, the thought was that the pre-recordings were designed for that exact reason, to give you guys experience. Again, I mean, I think if you look at that match with no context, you'll know these guys haven't done this much. Yeah. But I thought from a offensive perspective, there's a lot of opportunity. But from a defensive perspective, I thought you guys did pretty well, generally speaking, as far as taking shots and kind of posture and things like that. Didn't seem like, I mean, obviously Leon had the flinch. Did that hurt, by the way? Like, obviously you're hitting them with kind of the wrong part of your hand there.
No, I mean, no, I didn't have any issues with pain from the strike or anything like that. I think in the third round, I don't know if I was low or if he lifted his shoulder again. My pinky and possibly even ring finger like hit his shoulder on my way to the slap. That one I did feel a little bit, but I don't know if that was from me making a mistake or him.
Yeah, I mean, aside from obviously, I mean, I don't know what the training camp scene is going to look like for the next event, but what are you right now, having seen your match in full, what are you going to change moving forward to ensure that you're successful at super heavyweight?
I've completely changed my alignment, like my measuring. I'm hitting way more consistently on my bob, my paddles, everything like that. And hitting where I want to be. That's the biggest adjustment I made. I mean, I feel like if I'm hitting him in the correct spot, I end up I win that match. If I don't have that club, I win that match. So for me, that was the biggest takeaway. Obviously, I've been working on, continuing to build up neck strength, rotational strength, explosiveness, stuff like that. But as far as the actual form of the slap, it's my alignment's been the biggest thing.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for taking the time on short notice to join us. I apologize that we had you waiting there for a while, but always good to talk to you. Really appreciate your support, and hopefully we'll hear something about you or from you very, very soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys.
All right, brother. Take care, man. We'll talk soon.
You too. Have a good one.
All right, Ding. Actually, pretty good show. You know what? I feel like the viewers who made it this far were entertained throughout. Kind of got into it. We say sometimes the dog days of Power Slap. Feels like we're in it, all anticipating and waiting for the announcement. And as you alluded to off the top of the show, everybody wants to know when that next event will be coming. All we can do is sit and wait until we get the official announcement. And, we'll see. With the obviously Wolverine being back in the mix, makes things exciting. I think it adds a lot more intrigue to the top. We've kind of looked at it before and we talked about kind of who we thought would, make some sense in regards to potential matchups. And it was, some of the divisions are a little bit thin, as we kind of alluded to. And so Wolverine back in that match makes things exciting, I think, once again. And, as the ambassador that he is, I think it's incredibly great. Are they waiting for DCH to make to 265? You have any insight there, Ding? I don't think the wait's too long.
No, I mean, the last update from him was that he was 275, so I don't think they'd be waiting because he can dehydrate himself to get to that number. So
Mhm.
I don't think that that's what's holding this thing up, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, International Fight Week is just around the corner. We may inevitably be waiting until that particular moment. Obviously, nothing's set in stone at this particular time. We've seen the past how they like to roll out the big fight cards. They like to roll out the big boys. So very conceivable that we get heavy International Fight Week and potentially even that heavyweight matchup. I believe the first time International Fight Week came around, there was 3 title fights on that particular card with all eyes on Las Vegas for the UFC. On the UFC front, is there any rumor speculating what International Fight Week is at this moment? Didn't Ariel talk about potentially Ilya being the
they're talking about Topuria Islam or Topuria Oliveira. They're talking about Jones Aspinall. There's a lot of stuff flying out there. Apparently, I mean, according to Ariel, who's a very obviously reliable journalist in that space, Ilya is definitely on International Fight Week. Who the opponent is, that's the question.
What does that do? Does that move the needle? Because I remember last year at this time we were talking.
100%. We were talking Connor. Yeah, we were talking Connor Chandler. And then when it changed to Pereira, who was it? It was Pereira and I think Yuri Prohaska the second time. And I think that they saw those pre-buys go down and some people put in refunds. So that $20 million gate dip, I think Ilya Topuria, if it's Islam Makhachev, I think that probably breaks the record.
Yeah, but that was
but then Hill got hurt, and Hill was at 300. Hill was supposed to fight Oldberg.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and that wasn't that the Max Holloway.
300 was Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje. That was in April.
April? Okay, gotcha. Mixing up my events here. Overall, what do we got in the week coming? What can the fans of Slap News look forward to?
Well, you just put me on the spot. We're doing the matchmaker challenge for the women also. I think that'll be fun. Since they don't really have clear-cut divisions, some of them are talking about going up or going down. Some of them are a little sort of surprising, but I think that you guys will enjoy what that looks like. Of course, we're just like you guys, eager for any kind of announcement or indication that things are happening and what direction we're going to move in. And then, of course, obviously we want to sort of storytell Butcher versus Chief, Big Bird versus Turner, main co-main. Wow, Aaron Turner, that's a call out.
Butcher's Big Bird versus Turner and the co-main.
Yeah, that's a call out,
dude. I like Big Bird, man, but you must be smoking something tonight, buddy. Hate to say it. I like Big Bird. It's the worst part, man. International Fight Week. We interviewed live. Man, he's on something else tonight here. He's on something else. There we go.
Just remember, Big Bird, when they ask you who's your favorite at Slap News, just remember this moment. I'm doing this, and he's fucking telling you you're smoking rocks. But I think Fap actually had a good point here. If I can find it.
Whoever this guy is, I love him.
Yeah. Here we go. Fight nights. So what are your thoughts on this? We've talked 100%. About this before.
It's crazy because we actually just talked about this the other day. Both you and I did. We were talking about this potential, and I think 100%. I mean, what they do, and the UFC in regards to utilizing the Apex, I think it's absolutely foreseeable that we get these types of events, and I think they should, because I think going dark isn't good for the fan base. I think they want to see consistent matchups that are live. I don't feel that the tape fights are getting the same gusto that everyone would like to see. And I think honestly, getting smaller cards more frequently every 4 weeks, keep people engaged, keep them interested, get those highlight reels in there, get these people trained so that when you do have, those marquee events, you've built more of that storyline up. You've identified, even kind of like you were talking about, some of the guys and the changeover in the divisions, and, even talking about Provost and Frost, and half the guys are in the division last time we seen one of those two guys compete anymore. So, I think keeping these guys more consistent, keeping the roster active and fresh, and, fulfilling the contractual obligations that they have. A lot of these guys are on now, seemingly 6-fight contracts over 30 months. And so I think this will obviously allow for, these contracts to be filled and just give the fans what they want: more entertainment, more excitement, to be able to consume the product that they want to love.
Yeah, I'm half in, half out on both. I think a Contender Series kind of mimic would be fun. My concern is, though, like with Fight Nights, it's a produced event. I think that's part of the problem is just the manpower. Like when you're doing UFC every week, 40 out of 52 weeks a year, and then you're on the road for a lot of those. You have power stop events you need to sprinkle in there. TKO's coming up. I'm sure that'll encompass a lot of the same team beforehand. But I think if you're going to do pre-recordings, you need to do it differently. It needs to be, I'm going to say this and people are going to fucking kill me, and I apologize in advance, but if you're going to do pre-recorded, I think the only people that need to know the results of the pre-recorded are the two people involved in it, the president of the promotion, and, if Dana White is there or not there, whatever. I think if you just kind of make it legitimately a dark thing, like in WWE, they do these things called dark matches. It's a real life fucking dark match. Like it, as far as the public is concerned, it never happens. It never happened. Nobody knows anything about them. It's just for the people who are there live. And I think if you do pre-recorded or whatever, however you want to say it, if you do in any forum and you release it with promotion and you say, hey, I'm just using an example because he's in here, Big Bird and Darius, or their match is going to be releasing on Thursday, and literally nobody really knows what happened because Big Bird and Darius cannot, speak about it, and no clips have made it to social media, even if it was a highlight reel knockout. Like, I think that makes it much more, desirable for you to see that match, especially if you sort of invest in the athlete beforehand. So if Monday, Tuesday, I'm hearing Big Bird and Darius talking shit, and then Wednesday there's the match is releasing that nobody's ever seen, now I care about what's going to happen. They don't do it that way, though. They do it where it's like pre-recorded, but they're fucking all types of people in there. Clips are going on social from here to there, whatever it is. So it's like, I think that's why the gusto is missed, because you know the results, but not really. And if you don't know the results, you're asking around to find out who does, and then you find them out anyway. So now watching the match is just a formality. But if you really make it so that's exclusive, it'll be highly sought after. So, Powerstab, you're welcome. I am available to freelance.
No, I think you just found your way out the door, buddy. We'll see if you're here next week on Smack Talk, because honestly, man, people want live. The world is going to live. Live streaming runs the internet. None of this tape stuff anymore, dude. We're not stuck in 1980. I think we need live fights more frequently. Contender Series thing, I will give you that. I think there's some props to it. And if they want to be able to do something like that and, just lower the expectations, I think, because, you obviously you can still get great fights, but, you lower the expectations of, the entire production, how it's all put together. I think it could make a lot of sense. You're not trying to tax the title holders at the top to be able to have a title match every month. But I mean, seemingly when you have 6 of them, it may not be that hard. And obviously if you can add a women's division in here as well, but, some sort of tandem like that, I think could be in the best interest of the sport, just to be able to keep things consistent and keep this sport moving. But I appreciate everybody who's tuned in. You made it this way, whether you're watching on YouTube, watching on Spotify, or listening to us on iTunes. We appreciate you. Much love, much respect. Until next week, same place, same time.